there, fantasy owners. Welcome to Lift the Cup Fantasy, and it's championship week here. We got lots to cover, with this week covering 12 days. We will be splitting it up into two strategy episodes. This one will focus on the first 7 days. Later in the week, we will be having our normal waiver wire episode and our weekend ads episode, which will look at the turn into next week. And then we'll have a final strategy episode to focus on the last 5 days. Hopefully get you that cup. As I mentioned, it will focus on the first 7 days this week. Things to note within these first 12 days is that Anaheim, Winnipeg, LA, and Pittsburgh play 5 games. Buffalo only plays 4 games, and the rest of the league plays 6 or 7 games over this 12-day stretch. In the first 7 days, some things to know. The light nights are Monday, there's 6 games, Wednesday 4 games, and Friday 4 games. The 21 teams do have 4 games over these first 7 days, so there's a lot of games going on here. Do note that Arizona, Colorado, Seattle, and Washington play on all 3 of the light nights in the first 7 days. So we will focus on the Monday and Wednesday forwards and defensemen, as Friday will be discussed in our weekend ads episode. And we will split it up because there's a number of teams that play both Monday and Wednesday. So we'll look at those first. Monday and Wednesday, defensemen and forwards. And the remaining Monday teams, defensemen and forwards. And then we'll finish it off by looking at the remaining 4-game teams, defensemen and forwards. Don't forget to check into the description. That way, if you do need to get that piece or pieces, help you push for that cup, that way you can come back to the episode. I will mark in there where to find the different pieces. And don't forget to subscribe. That way, if you do need to come back, find that special piece or pieces again, the video will be a lot easier to find. So there's a lot to cover, so we'll jump right into it. So some defensemen that play both Monday and Wednesday. Look at, from Arizona, Shane Gostisbehere. He's owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. Plays in that top pairing, top power play unit. He does have 3 points in his last 6 games, so a half point per game. And he really is the best option on Arizona's back end. Another one from Colorado is Bowen Byram. He's owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues. As he's come back from concussion, he's already been promoted up to the top pairing. He has 3 points in the 5 games since coming back. And he really is a good option there. Good young defenseman. Another one to consider is Samuel Girard, just because he does get second unit power play time, but he's really, really streaky. If he's cold, he's ice cold, and if he's hot, he's putting up a pile for you. Another one is from Dallas. Look at Ryan Suter. He's owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing right now and second power play unit, and he has 4 points in his last 5 games. Last one here is Vince Dunn from Seattle. He's owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Plays in the top pairing, top power play unit. Yes, he's only had 1 point in his last 7 games, but before that he put up 5 points over a 4-game stretch. So if you catch him at the right time, he can definitely add some value for you. So we'll go into some forwards that play both Monday and Wednesday. And up front from Arizona, look at Nick Schmaltz. He's listed as center right winger, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues, plays in the top line, top power play unit. He's cooled down a bit since Keller's been out, but he's still been producing 7 points his last 8 games. Another option, if you are in a pinch or in a very deep league, is Phil Kessel. I just warn you, really don't know what you're going to get from him, but if you catch him at the right time, he'll definitely produce for you. Going over to Chicago, look at Dylan Strome. He's listed as center right winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line with Kane and top power play unit. And he's been hot the second half. He's keeping it going. 12 points over the last 12 games played. Another one from Chicago is Philip Kurashev. Listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Definitely available no matter how deep your league is, because he's 0% owned. He's playing on the second line. He's been bumped up into the top 6 and second unit power play time. And he has 3 points in his last 3 games played. Going over to Colorado, there's a few here. Look at Andre Burakovsky. Listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line right now and second unit power play, and he has 9 points in his last 7 games. Another one's one of the new men they acquired at the deadline. Look at Arturi Lehkonen, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. He's playing on the second line and getting time on the top power play unit there, and he has 5 points in his last 5 games played. Last one is Valery Nichushkin, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 7 games played. Going over to Dallas, look at Jamie Benn, the wily old vet, listed as center left winger, only owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line and second power play unit, and he's been pointless the last 2 games, but only 2 games, and before that he put up 7 points over a 7-game span there. Go over to Seattle. Look at Ryan Donato. Plays on that top line right now, listed as center left winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, and he's put up 5 points in his last 6 games. Seattle, there's low ownership, but you can find a little bit of sneaky value there. Another one's Alex Wenberg, listed as center left winger, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he's put up 5 points in his last 6 games. So now we'll jump into some defensemen that do play Monday but not Wednesday. And look at Noah Hannafin from Calgary. He's owned in 50% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top pairing, second power play unit. He's been hot. 13 points his last 11 games to go along with 25 shots on goal. Next one is from Carolina. Look at Jacob Slavin. Owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues, so ownership is getting up there, but plays top pairing, second power play unit. He only has 1 point in his last 6 games, but before that he put up 5 points over the previous 5 games played. And in the last 9 games, actually, he's had 23 shots on goal, so there is some value there, even if he isn't putting up the goals and assists. Going over to New Jersey, look at Damon Severson. Only owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top pairing, second power play unit, and he's been steady. 8 points his last 12 games played, so some nice production from the back end there. Over in Ottawa, look at Eric Brandstrom. Owned in only 2% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, top power play unit, getting all the nice ice time with Shabbat out, and he has 4 points in his last 8 games, so half point per game, and outside of Brandstrom, there's really nothing on the back end in Ottawa that I'd really consider, to be honest. Going over to Vancouver is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, second power play unit, and he's been having a nice little stretch here. 8 points in his last 10 games to go along with 21 shots on goal. Last one's from Washington. I hope I don't butcher this last name. Is Martin Fehervary. We'll call him 14% owned. Look beside me to see how it's spelled because I know I didn't pronounce it right. He's playing on the top pairing right now, and he's put up 3 points in the last 5 games. And in that time, especially if you're in a banger league, he's had 28 hits, so he definitely throws a body around. So now we'll go into some forwards that play Monday but don't play on Wednesday. And look at Dylan Dubé. He's listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line and second power play unit. And he has 3 points in his last 3 games played. Another one from Calgary is Andrew Mangiapane. Listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. And he's been having a good season, and it's starting to pick up again. 4 points in the last 5 games. Another one to consider from Calgary is Tyler Toffoli. He's just on a bit of a cold streak right now, so I wouldn't quite promote him, but it is another option depending on your league. Go over to Carolina, look at Seth Jarvis. Listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Only owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line with Aho and Svechnikov, and plays on the second power play unit, and he has 5 points in his last 5 games played. Another one's Jordan Staal, listed as a center, only owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line, second power play unit. He's been really good of late, having 6 points in his last 5 games, and he has 6 goals just in the last 5 games, and he's put up 8 points in his last 6 games played. Go over to New Jersey, look at Nico Heishire, listed as a center, owned in 35% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit, and he's been hot, 16 points in his last 12 games. Couple others from New Jersey, look at Jesper Bratt, listed as left winger or right winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line and top power play unit, and he cooled off a bit, but still point per game the last 4. 4 points in his last 4 games played. Last one's Jagger Shrangovich, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, owned in only 10% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top line and second power play unit, and he's put up 7 points in his last 7 games played. Go over to Ottawa, look at Josh Norris, listed as a center, owned in 61% of Yahoo leagues, so his ownership is creeping up there. People are seeing what he's doing right now. He's on the top line, top power play unit, and he's put up 14 points in his last 11 games. Next one's Drake Batherson, listed as a right winger. Ownership has been slipping here. It's down to 55%. He plays second line, first power play unit. And the ownership's dropping because he was a little cold when he first came back from injury, but he's heating back up. 5 points the last 5 games played and 13 shots on goal. Last one is Tim Stützle. He's really hot right now. Center, left winger, owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line, top power play unit. He's currently on a 7-game point streak where he has 11 points in those 7 games. Next one is Connor Garland from Vancouver, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, second power play unit, and he's on a point streak. 5-game point streak where he has 2 goals and 5 assists for 7 points. Go over to Vegas, look at Evgeny Dadonov, the unwanted man. Left winger, right winger, owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 13 points in his last 10 games played. Couple others from Vegas is look at Chandler Stevenson, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit, and he's put up, Vegas is winning, he's put up 11 points his last 9 games. Next one's William Karlsson from Vegas, only owned in 20% of Yahoo leagues, listed as center, left wing, currently centering that third line and plays on the second power play unit, and he has 9 points in his last 8 games to go along with 24 shots on goal. Finish it off with some Washington guys. Look at Connor Sheary, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top line with Kuznetsov and Ovechkin, and he has 4 points in his last 4 games played. Next one is Nicholas Backstrom, listed as a center, down to 62% owned, but you know what he can do? He plays second line, top power play unit, and he's put up 6 points in his last 8 games played. So now we'll look at some remaining defensemen and forwards that play on Wednesday that don't play on Monday. It's only one team, Edmonton, so we'll get through it quick here, put them on the same slide. But look at Cody Ceci. He's owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top pairing, and he's put up 5 points in his last 8 games. And in those 8 games, he's blocked 22 shots, so there's definitely some added value there. Another option on the back end is Evan Bouchard. The only thing is I think playing this many games is starting to get to him because he's been cold of late, but he can put up a couple of points here, a couple of points there, so might be worth streaming on a light night. Up front, look at Zach Hyman, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second line and top power play unit, and he's been really good the last month. 9 points in the last 11 games played, to go along with 26 shots on goal. Another option for them is Jesse Puljujarvi, just because he does play on that top line with McDavid, and he's the big butt in front of the net on the power play there, so he might be worth... He just goes really streaky, where he'll put up some points very similar to Bouchard in that way, so I wouldn't necessarily suggest him, but if you are in a deep league, it might be somebody worth streaming. So now we'll look at some defensemen that have 4 games this week that don't play. 4 games in the first 7 days. The week's 12 days, but don't play Monday or Wednesday. And look at Philip Hronek from Detroit, owned in 15% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line, second power play unit, and he's put up 5 points his last 7 games. So nice point total there, and definitely worth streaming if you need a defenseman. Go over to Florida and look at Ben Sherratt, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that top pairing in Florida, and in Florida you're definitely going to get some points. All you got to do is touch the puck and get it to a forward there. 7 points in the last 8 games. And he does a little bit of everything. Besides that, in the 8 games, he's had 15 shots on goal, 21 hits, and 19 blocks. Another option on Florida's back end is Brandon Montour. Owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit, and he's put up 5 points in the last 6 games. Last one from Florida's back end is look at Gustav Forsling. Owned in 28% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that second pairing, and he's put up 7 points in the last 7 games. And in those 7 games, 27 shots on goal. So basically 4 shots a game. Go over to Montreal. Look at Jeff Petrie. He's back. 46% owned. Plays top pairing, second power play unit. And he has 2 points in the 3 games since coming back from injury. And he definitely gonna log a lot of ice time in Montreal there. Over in San Jose, look at Erik Karlsson, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing top power play unit, and he's put up 6 points the last 10 games played. Should warn, a couple of those were multi-point games, so a little bit of risk-reward because he will toss up a goose egg there. Going over to St. Louis, look at Colton Parayko, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top pairing. For a big shutdown man, he's getting some points. 3 points the last 4 games, and he's also gets in front of the puck. 10 blocks in those 4 games. Another one from St. Louis is Nick Leddy, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing top power play unit, and he's put up 5 points the last 7 games, so definitely getting comfortable in his new colors. Couple from Toronto for you. Look at Mark Giordano. Owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, plays third pairing, second power play, and he's put up 5 points in his last 8 games played. Another one to look at is Jake Muzzin. Owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing there, but he's put up 2 points the last 4 games, so a half point per game. But in that, he's fired 11 shots on net and had 14 hits, so coming back from injury hasn't really phased him much at all. So now some forwards that have 4 games in the first 7 days, but don't play Monday or Wednesday. Look at Jake DeBrusk, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line and second power play unit. And yes, he's been pointless the last 3 games, but he definitely gets hot on that top line, as we've all seen, because before the last little 3-game stretch, he put up 10 points over 7 games. Another one up front for Boston's Eric Holla, listed as center left winger, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit, and he's put up 13 points in his last 12 games played. Next up is Jacob Vrana from Detroit, listed as a left winger, owned in 22% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit, and he's been pointless the last 2 games, which isn't very much, but before that he put up 11 points over a 10-game stretch. Another one from Detroit is Lucas Raymond, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 46% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit, and he's put up 7 points in his last 9 games played. We'll go over to Florida now. Look at Carter Verhaeghe, listed as center left winger, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, second power play unit, and he's put up 5 points the last 8 games played, and in that time he's also thrown 17 pucks at net. Reason I do mention 5 points in 8 games, not the greatest production, but he does play on that line with Barkov, and you can't go wrong there, piggybacking some points hopefully. Same reason with Anthony Duclair, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line and the top power play unit in Florida, which is dynamite, and he's put up 4 goals and 1 assist in his last 6 games played. To go along with 21 shots on goal. Over in Minnesota, look at Joel Eriksson Ek. Listed as a center, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line and top power play unit. Yes, he was pointless the last 3 games, but before that he put up 9 points over a 9-game stretch. Another one from Minnesota's Matt Boldy. He's back producing. Left winger, right winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that third line and top power play unit, and he's currently on a 5-game point streak where he has 1 goal and 6 assists for 7 points. Over in Montreal, really look at Cole Caulfield. Has had a hell of a second half of the season. Left winger, right winger, owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues, so his ownership's shot right up there. Plays top line, top power play unit. He's been pointless the last 2 games, but before that he put up 4 goals and 1 assist in a 4-game stretch. Over for the Islanders, look at Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Listed as a center, owned in 35% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line's top power play unit, and he has 7 points in his last 6 games. Another one is Brock Nelson, listed as a center, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit, and he's put up 5 points in his last 5 games played. Another option from the Islanders is Anders Lee. He's just been a little cold of late, but he did have a real hot streak before that, so depending on your league, might be worth grabbing. Next one is Robert Thomas from St. Louis. Nobody's hotter right now. Listed as center, right winger, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the top line and second power play unit, and he's currently on an 11-game point streak where he has 23 points over those 11 games. The other one from St. Louis is Brandon Saad, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the second line right now, and he has 9 points in his last 9 games played. Last one from St. Louis is Ivan Barbashev, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. That pesky Russian, he seems to come in and out. Owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues, plays on the third line, second power play unit, and he has 8 points in his last 8 games played. One from Tampa for you. Look at Ross Colton possibly, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line with Stamkos and second power play unit. And he's put up 6 points in his last 8 games. And if hits are considered, ding, ding, ding here. 21 hits in those 8 games. A few from Toronto to finish it off. Look at Ilya Mikheyev, listed as left winger, right winger. Owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line with Tavares and second power play unit, and since moving up to the second line, he's been really good. 7 points his last 8 games. Another one is Michael Bunting, listed as a left winger, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues, plays on that top line with Matthews and Marner, and he loves it up there, and second power play unit, and he's put up 8 points in his last 7 games played. Last one, bit of a dark horse, is Pierre Engvall, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Basically available everywhere, 1% owned. Plays on the third line, but he's been really hot of late, having 7 points in his last 8 games. Do remember that we will be out later this week with a waiver wire episode and a weekend ads episode, and we'll also have part 2 of the strategy season, looking at the final 5 days of week 26 here. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, do remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and remember that notification bell so you hear about future episodes. And good luck to all the fantasy owners out there.